I loved her, but I didn't realize how quickly love could turn to hate. Now I had to come up with a plan to get even with her and Ray and still act normal. Back in the living room, she told Ray that she loved him and only him. She would think about what she could do to break up with me so that I wouldn't find out that she still loved Ray. When she got home, she greeted me as usual. I had no problem fucking her, but I decided to be a lot rougher and a lot less gentle. She wanted rough, and she would get it. And she did. The next day, I called my friends and asked them to come over on Friday of the week and play cards. We did this every couple months. I told them I had a surprise for them. When they asked what it was, I told them they would have to come over to find out. I told Joan that the boys were coming over to play cards on Friday. She reminded me that we were supposed to go with Ray and Sue on Saturday and celebrate Valentine's Day. We had already made reservations at the Holiday Inn. Joan and I were going to stay the night. Ray said that he and Sue would probably drive home that evening. I asked Joan if she was going out on Friday or staying home. She replied that she would stay home since we were going out on Saturday. I thought, good, that fits in with my revenge plans. I knew our marriage was over. I just needed a little revenge on Joan and Ray. We rented an apartment and each of us owned or at least paid for our own car. Other than that, we didn't have much money. Between us, we made quite a bit, but as Joan had already said, she got whatever she wanted. We had a few thousand in savings and about the same amount in a checking account. The credit cards we paid off every month. That was one good thing we decided to do when we first got married. We were paying very little interest, which kept us out of debt. I talked to my employer, and he offered me a position in sales in Kentucky. It was about 300 miles from where I lived in Ohio. He said that if I accepted, they would give me a raise and pay my moving expenses or rent for 6 months or until I was settled. I asked how soon I would be transferred, and he said any time within the next month. They wanted to fill the position by the end of February. He said he would understand if I didn't accept the position, but he should offer it to me. Without flinching, I told him I would accept and be there by February 13th. He was surprised that I was ready so soon. I told him I was getting a divorce and wanted to get on with my life as soon as possible. That gave me a week and a half to prepare. I asked him to keep the moving and divorce information private since my wife had not yet been served with the papers. He said he sympathized with me and wished me all the best. I left the office and headed to the attorney's office. I explained my situation and said that I needed to have the papers served on my wife at the Holiday Inn while we had dinner. Joe Lester had been my family's attorney for as long as I could remember. I told him that I have proof of adultery, but I just want the marriage dissolved. We have a no-fault state, but considering we had very few assets and had only been married for 2 years, there was nothing to divide. I told him I wanted to cancel all of our joint credit cards on Saturday the 11th. We only had 3 in both names. I had another card that I kept in my name only and left open. She also had several store cards in her name only. I didn't care about them. Now I just had to get through another week and a half. I did my best to work late. I had sex with Joan twice, but it wasn't love. Alex, what's the matter? Why are you being so rough with me? I like the gentle and caring you much better. I'm sorry. It's been a rough week at work. My friend told me about his wife cheating on him. I guess it just bothered me. She gave me a strange look but didn't say anything else. On Sunday, I told her I was going to the hardware store. I went down to the basement to see what I needed. She must have thought I was gone. I heard her talking on the phone. When I was in the basement, it was always easy to hear talking upstairs. The sound came through the vent. I could only hear one side of the conversation. Ray, have you talked to Alex lately? He doesn't seem like himself. Do you think he suspects something? I was just wondering. I'll see you at work tomorrow. Of course, I'll see you here on Friday when you're playing cards with the guys. You'll tell me if Alex seems different to you. Yeah, I wish I was with you on Saturday, but at least we'll be together to some degree. I love you too. Walking up the stairs, I caught Joan off guard. I thought you went to the store. I had to check to see if I had the nuts and bolts first. Who were you talking to? She hesitated, then replied, Mom, I asked her for a recipe. I thought I was going to make cookies for your card party. You don't have to. I'll just have cheese, bologna, and crackers. I need to buy beer and liquor. I'll talk to you later. I'm heading to the hardware store. I was actually buying a tripod for our video camera. I would need it on Friday. All week I hadn't had sex with Joan. I could tell she was a little worried. Thursday I picked up food and booze for a card party. When she asked me to make love to her that night, I told her to wait until the guys left on Friday night. Besides, we had a Saturday night at the Holiday Inn coming up. I told her I hoped it would be a night out. She didn't say anything, but I knew she was interested in what was going on. To this day, I had never turned her down for sex since we had gotten married. After work on Friday, I set up the card table and laid out all the appetizers. I also had plenty of booze. Joan asked me what was going on. I told her it was a boys' party and we were going to drink a lot. They all knew about it and came in a cab, all except Ray. He lived on the next block. They all showed up, and the first thing they did was hug and kiss Joan. I remember Tony saying, "God damn, you're one lucky son of a bitch, what I wouldn't give for a night with a woman like Joan." Everyone laughed except Ray. They said they all felt the same way. Then I said that they all had amazing wives that they should be grateful to for putting up with them. Everyone laughed again except Ray. That's how we socialized. Under the right circumstances, I'm sure they would have loved to fulfill their fantasy. Everyone was drinking mixed drinks. When they asked what the surprise was, I told them it would be later. Joan was dressed in tight jeans and a tight blouse. It showed off her assets well. "Holy shit," Bob said. "You haven't changed a bit since high school. Still just as sexist." Joan smiled at him. Ray said, "Better not let Marie hear you say that. She might bust your head open." "Bullshit, Ray. Even Marie knows that Joan was the hottest girl in school. Marie is a good-looking woman, but admittedly, we all dreamed of Joan." "Okay, that's enough," Ray said. "I think we're embarrassing Joan." I looked up, and a smile appeared on Joan's face. She wasn't embarrassed in the least. I guess it was Ray who didn't like the sex talk. A few hours passed, and all the guys were already well intoxicated. They started talking about sex and even their wives. Even Ray was drunk, but he didn't talk, just listened. I saw Ray go to talk to Joan. I figured she wanted to see if he noticed anything. Then he headed for the bathroom and then came back. No one noticed, but I only had one drink and drank sodas the rest of the evening. I got up and made Joan another drink. It was a screwdriver, but I put a lot of medicine in it. After a few minutes, she was passing out like a light. My buddy who sold me the stuff said it was a sleeping pill, but a person could still feel and react in their sleep. About 10 minutes after Joan drank her drink, she told the guys that she felt tired and was going to go to bed. "Shall I put you to bed?" Brad asked. Joan only smiled. Another half hour passed and the guys were still drinking and playing cards. I excused myself and went upstairs. I set up the video camera in the closet. Then I undressed Joan completely. She was naked and covered only by a sheet. I took some towels and spread them around, especially under her ass. I went back downstairs and heard that the guys had gone quiet. I asked them if they were talking about Joan again. They laughed and I told them I had a surprise for them. I asked them to follow me up the stairs and into my bedroom where Joan lay. "What the hell is going on?" Ray asked. "Well, guys, I'm going to be straight with you. I found out that Joan was cheating on me, but I don't know with whom. I figured if she can sleep with some stranger, she can sleep with my friends." "That's crazy," Ray said. "We're all married, asshole. There's no way I'd do that to Joan." "Look, Ray, she's sleeping with me, and when I find out exactly who she's dating, shit's going to hit the fan. I know all you guys wanted to fuck her back in high school. Now's your chance." "I'm not forcing any of you.